Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Will County Board meeting for June 20th, 2024. Call this meeting to order. Board Member Newquist will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. So please still be patient here with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now I would just like to offer a brief moment of silence so that we can all contemplate whatever our personal source of inspiration is, so that we can do the best job possible for the residents of Will County. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlattman. Van Dyne. Pretzel. Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Ogala.
With 18 members present, we have a quorum. I need a motion to place on file the certificate of publication. Motion by Mueller, seconded by Winfrey. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlattman. Van Dyne. Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Winfrey. Logan. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Ogala.
We have, please add County Board Member Freeman to the roll. Would you like to be yes? We're voting on the file of publication. Okay, with 19 in the affirmative, the motion carries. Moving on to the approval of minutes, I need a motion to approve the recess minutes from May 16th, 2024. Motion by Revis, seconded by Ogala. Previous roll call by Balich, seconded by Mueller. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to approve the special meeting from June 4th, 2024, 2 p.m. Motion by Mueller, seconded by Trainier. Previous. Just, okay. Please hit your buttons. County Board Member Logan. Yeah, sorry. I think I'm pressing it.
There you go. All right, I'd like to make a motion to amend the minutes to reflect the current start time. I believe it was like 2:15, 2:16 that we started. And to reflect the current or the correct roll call. Because we do have someone who arrived late and there is no time in there. And throughout the minutes, they're marked as away, and in fact, they were actually absent.
Second.
Okay, so we have to, so we have a motion to amend the minutes with those three additions or clarifications. Is there a second? And seconded by Ogala. Any discussion on the amendments? County Board Member Trainier, you had your hand? Yeah. Okay. These are on the amendments. I can't see if you're on or not.
Nope, not
All
yet.
right. Sorry, we really need to get names on there. Are you on?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't hear the member state who was late or not there or whatever. I'm not sure
Can you clarify for us, Mr. Logan?
who he's talking
Yeah.
about.
If you read the minutes, it says, Costa was late, but there was no time there. I didn't think I needed to actually.
Oh, that was your only question or
No,
concern was
It's
the
not a
time?
question.
The
And then
time.
throughout, then it says away, but I was here at 2:15 and she was not.
So can you, yeah, because so. Was it,
Oh,
yeah,
I think that's just how they do it is the word away, but maybe not. She wasn't absent.
She didn't arrive for an hour and 5 minutes since the start of the meeting. She was not here.
yeah, so I don't know if we ever, so I'll let the
This is
clerk
a
kind of,
Weird occurrence. I don't think we've ever had anything like this.
yeah, I mean, members go in and out all the time, they're late. I don't know if they just put in when they came in, and I don't know if we've ever put times specifically when they come in, or, yeah.
State's attorney, kind of the fact that she did not arrive.
That's
for an
fine,
hour and
that's
5
fine. I'm not arguing, I'm not arguing the facts. We're trying to figure out what we are trying to do. Go ahead.
But I'm looking at May 16th and there's a time on that one. I'm confused.
Yeah.
I'm new at this, so I'm just trying to
That's fine.
figure
No, we're
out.
gonna. All right.
I just didn't, but.
Oh, no, that's why we're doing this. I mean, that's why we do these.
So they're making an amendment to add the time of when county board member Costa arrived?
Yeah.
Okay,
And then throughout it, it says away and actually.
so
it should
we'll
be
put the
absent.
time when the county board members left too. I guess we'll have to get that as well. Well, let's hear what the state's attorney has to say.
Hang on.
Yeah, we're gonna.
So as to the time, that's a policy question, however you want to do it and however the clerk's office is keeping it. It's not a legal issue. As to the nature of absent versus away, again, at least for purposes of this set of minutes, I don't think it legally makes a question. So however you want your minutes to read is a question, a policy question for the board.
She wasn't in the room, away, she never was here.
We get. And, okay, yeah, we have county board member Berkowitz and then Trinair.
Thank you, Jennifer. So in the past, we have always indicated if a member arrives, they arrive tardy, what time they arrived. In addition to that, in order to have transparency for our residents who perhaps refer to our minutes, we should also disclose if a member leaves the county meeting early and what time they left that meeting. People do. There are people that have a tendency to run in and out of meetings when they don't want to cast a vote. But this is the reason why we need to prevent that from happening. And this is a consistent problem, Jennifer, but
You don't have to- This is not to me. I'm just responding.
right.
Yeah. I'm
So
not-
maybe perhaps the caucuses ought to, this is a conversation that they should have. But in the meantime, if you choose to leave the meeting and you choose to exit the building, that needs to be documented. And that always has been a policy. We keep the county board is always told, well, if you want that policy, you can establish it. We have had that policy. And I don't know who decided that it didn't exist, but it does exist. So we want accuracy and we want detail in these minutes. And I would like to have these corrected and then brought back next month for the board vote. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so County Chair O'Gala?
Thank you. So to clarify the statements that have been made, somewhere, the meeting started somewhere between 2:10 and 2:15, not exactly sure when. County executive was at the desk at 2 o'clock. She had to leave for some reason, then came back later. So we didn't start at 2 o'clock. So everyone must leave at some point, you know what I mean? So that's not an issue. So the start time should reflect something between 2:10, 2:15. Also additionally, Member Costa was not in the room until nearly the end of the meeting. It was after members, if you look at the video, Member Freeman was speaking. After she spoke, the county executive then said, before we adjourn, I'm going to say some things. And then she said some things. Then she made a motion to adjourn, and then her counsel said something to her, which said, oh, Member Costa, you want to say something. And then at that point, so it was between before we adjourn, I want to say something after Micah spoke, and then the next time the executive mentioned adjourn, that Member Costa arrived in the room. If she is not here for roll call, these roll calls should say she's absent, because she was never here. Never here for any roll calls throughout the entire meeting. There was no roll call made after Costa arrived. So that should be corrected to say absent, because she was absent. She wasn't in the room. She was never here. Right, she had never been present for any roll call ever during the meeting. And I'd like to make an additional amendment to that,
Okay, so hold on. You're going to make additional amendment to, okay, to his.
to Vince's afterwards. Yeah, sure.
Well, will it disrupt what, I mean, is it just?
It's just a.
So we
it's-
can
it's a
go ahead
number
and vote on
change.
what his, Vince, do me a favor. I'm sorry, Mr. Logan, will you do me a favor? Repeat your three corrections. You're on. Repeat your three corrections so we know what we're voting on. Fine.
Okay, to amend the minutes to reflect the correct time,
The
start
sc-
time.
Correct starting time. Okay, that's fine. Correct starting time. That's all right. Go ahead. That's right. Just please, sir, go ahead.
Okay,
We'll get it, yeah.
and then the correct arrival time of Costa,
Correct arrival time, Board Member Costa.
and
Okay.
then the roll calls to reflect that she was actually absent and not away.
Okay.
And I do have another one if you want. I can add another one in there.
Well, you've already made a motion and,
Okay,
a second to that, so
all kinds of errors, I
Alright.
guess.
at least we have them.
There's another one.
Okay, so we're still on the discussion of adding,
Amend your motion to amend.
Let's just go. Let's just get, I want to get out of here before. Anyone can make an amendment.
I think what I'm hearing is you want to reflect the time, and again, we're just trying to have clarify. We want to reflect the time that the meeting start. We want to reflect the time when County Board Member Costa came in, and we want to reflect,
All the roll calls
you want to reflect all the roll calls?
to show that she was absent. and not away.
Okay. I think we only had one,
One,
two maybe?
two,
Oh, like, okay,
3, 4.
okay.
There was also another, and that first roll call, there's also another person that's not in there as
Okay.
a nay.
Okay. We need to review the roll call, okay. So we have a County Board Member Trinier.
Mountains and molehills.
Mhm.
We just passed a set of meeting minutes without any discussion whatsoever, where Board Member Ortiz was late. And it shows that in the minutes. And then during the roll calls that happened, when she was not here, it says away. Those were perfectly fine, but somehow this one isn't. This particular meeting's getting extra scrutiny. And I get, if you want to add the start time and add the time that Member Costa came, that makes sense. That obviously was an oversight. I have no issue with that. But the fact that we're questioning this process, and it's a process we've been doing for the 16 years I've been on this county board, I've come into meetings at the very last vote. I've left meetings after a couple of votes because I had somewhere else I needed to be. We've never made an issue out of this before. I don't understand why this particular meeting seems very suspect to me. But again, mountains and molehills.
Sorry, County Board Member Costa and then Revis.
Yeah, I have no issue with correcting start time, what time my arrival was. I would like to note that if half of our county board did not walk out of the meeting would have continued and I would have remained present through the duration of the rest of the meeting. There was, to Member Berkowitz's point, if you would like to add to the minutes, the dereliction of their duty in actually leaving the meeting and what time they left the meeting and what time each individual Republican member of this board left the meeting and walked out, please do add that to the minutes. Because by the time I showed up, an hour and 5 minutes after the start time of this meeting, which by the way, took forever to get on the agenda. This special meeting that, people who do have other jobs, who do have other commitments and obligations, have worked around their schedules to show up. I showed up. I showed up an hour and 5 minutes late, doing my very best to serve in this role and to make a vote on the agenda items listed by our county board chair, who walked out of the meeting. So please do, correct the start time, add my arrival time. I showed up and I was away, which by the way, I had asked for permission in advance of the meeting because I wanted to be here on June 4th. I had a conversation with our county board chair, with staff, to find out what are the rules that govern my ability to show up to this meeting virtually. Our rules don't allow for it. State statute does, but our rules don't allow for it. The topic is I showed up late and I tried to be here. Yeah. And I remained and yes, and there absolutely was a video. I have now a viral sensation because of it.
She's
and
okay, wrap up,
yeah.
let's wrap up.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's about it.
And again, you brought her name up. She is explaining her situation. You brought the time up. She has a right to respond. We are adding County Board Member Pretzel at 9:50 a.m. No, I mean, or is he gone? Okay, well, take it back.
He's gonna do something. Back to the meeting.
Folks, I mean, this is how these things roll. So is there any more discussions on, we have no, I'm removing from the roll because remove him from the roll because he left, came in and left. So, do there any more topics or any more discussion on the 3 amendments that County Board member Vince Logan has prepared? Oh, I'm sorry, County Board member, you did. I said your name too. I'm sorry. Sorry, sir.
It doesn't matter if we don't have anybody else to talk about it, but I was going to call the question. I didn't know if I could. That's what I was mouthing to.
You are done. All right, thank you, though. We won't. All right, so we are taking a roll call on the 3 amendments. I just want to make sure don't let me forget. Okay, County Board. Well, hold on a second. Can we do that after we make this amendment? Can we bring the topic back up? Because County Board member. Making sure I don't want to accidentally tick anyone off. So, okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the amendment.
Is everyone ready?
Yeah.
Balich. Trainier.
Voting no. She's voting no. She's voting no. No.
Dean Schlattman. Van Dyne. Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Winfrey. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Ogala.
Yeah. I think, yeah. Question is whether or not someone can abstain. It's not on.
An abstention is counted with the majority, so so yeah, it's a legal nullity at this point, whether you abstain or not.
2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 no's and 1 abstention. 13.
13 in the affirmative, 5 in the negative, and 1 abstention. Motion carries. County Board Member O'Gala.
In the minutes, it is the second page of the minutes, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth paragraph down. It says it's regarding the contract for the landfill consultant. It says that it clearly states that it would be worth, would be for 3 months for a total of $50,000. It should be 15. I'm sure that was just a hearing thing. You know, when you're listening to minutes, 50, 15 sounds the same. So just change that to 15,000 versus 50,000. That's my motion.
So there's a motion to change the contract, motion by O'Gala, seconded by Butler. Any discussion? Previous roll by Van Dyne.
Don't even want to correct that, Joe, seriously.
Motion by Van Dyne. Is there a second to that one? Seconded by Mueller. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. So now we have to go back to the original motion as amended. So is there a motion to go back to the, with motion by O'Gala? Seconded by Butler. Any discussion? Just previous roll call by Van Dyne. They want previous roll.
Okay.
You know, where previous roll is where people said no and abstain. Previous roll call by Van Dyne, seconded by Mueller. All in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries. This time, Madam Clerk, are you caught up? Will you please acknowledge the elected officials and media present?
See, today I have County Executive Jennifer Bertino Tarrant, County Clerk Lauren Staley Ferry, Treasurer Tim Brophy, and for the media, Michelle Mullins from the Daily Southtown.
Thank you. Moving on to proclamations. We have 3 proclamations, beginning with Board Member Trenier, who will recognize in June as LGBTQ IA plus Pride Month.
If I can get I didn't know how narrow that little spot was.
So we have member Dean, I'm kind of fine. We have Dean Schlotman, who has left. We have County Board Member Balich, who's also left. So please note of it.
Thank you, Madam Executive. We want to recognize June as LGBTQIA and Pride Month. Whereas the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and/or questioning intersex ACE plus community is an integral part of Will County. Whereas the diverse makeup of the I keep doing that backwards, LGBTQIA and community shapes and impacts the foundation of our county. And whereas the intersectionality of the LGBTQIA community allows for us to see things from multiple lenses, to further recognize that each person has different circumstances and allocates the exact resources and opportunities needed to reach an equal outcome. And whereas the Will County Pride Coalition and the Pride groups of Will County are recognized as part of the Will County community and acknowledged for their continued work to advocate for equality for all. Now therefore be it resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive hereby proclaim June as Pride Month in support of the LGBTQIA and plus community. Be it further resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive encourage all communities to take action and engage in dialogue to strengthen alliances, build acceptance, and advance equal rights for all. And I so move.
Motion by Trinier, seconded by Mueller. We need a fresh, Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Oh, is there, hold on, we don't do discussions on proclamations, sir. Yeah.
Now they want to change the rule.
That, we don't do discussions on proclamation. Man. Okay, well. All right. Pardon me. There's a motion so we can have discussion. So County Board Member Berkowitz.
Thank you, Madam Executive. So I would like to know, where's the representation for the traditional family?
Just,
Where is the
No.
representation?
no.
And this is, please let me speak. So we should support the freedoms of every individual, no matter who they say they are. That's what we should support. This type of a resolution does not belong here. It has nothing to do with county government. I'm here to represent the residents of Will County, and that has nothing to do with this. I'm not saying I'm against it, but I'm saying we need to focus on doing our business. And when we do represent every person, I'm seeing something missing here. So I'm just, in respect to every person here, we are all representing every person, no matter who they say they are. And Meta, you can video me. That's fine. But I'm not saying anything
No, I'm going to follow the rules.
thank you. I'm not saying anything that I am ashamed of saying, because I know people of all walks in life that I love and I support. So I want resolutions that are going to make a difference. Okay, mothers, fathers, you can be any type of person, be a grandmother, a grandfather. Jackie, you're a grandmother, okay? So this is my issue, not with the people. Let's focus on county business. Thank you.
County Board Member Butler.
There we go.
There you go, sir.
Okay, so as far as proclamations go, I think we got way too many proclamations. I get it, you know, I personally, whatever people want to do, live your life the way you want to live it, I'm fine with that. I don't agree that the government should be making proclamations about people's sexuality. It just doesn't seem like a place. Father's Day even, I don't really think that needs to be done. You know, like when we're talking about veterans and stuff, people who fought for our freedoms and stuff to preserve our very way of life here in this country, I 100% for, and not to diminish your efforts or your plight. I just don't feel that this is the forum for it. So I'm not supporting it.
So a roll call vote has been requested. Madam, wait, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, sorry. And please do this right while I'm getting used to this. This is really not a convenient. There you go.
Okay.
Form, we can't get it yet. It's really not helpful. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was really hopeful because I saw the resolution on the agenda, I was hopeful that I wasn't going to have to give this speech because I thought, we all might have learned something since last year, but apparently not. So I just want to say, as someone who is a part of a traditional family and also part of the LGBTQ community.
Me too.
Yep, that's right, me. I find it very appalling that I have to sit here and listen to board members talk about why do we have to do this? It's just about sexuality, as if they have no idea about any of the history that has happened in this country, in the world. I mean, it's just mind blowing to me that we don't understand the struggles that LGBTQ community members have had to face and still have to face on a daily basis. If I go out into the community with my family, my husband, and my children, nobody's going to tell me anything. But guess what? I never told my family how I was growing up attracted to both sexes because I knew my father had told us growing up, if my children are gay, they are not going to be welcome in this family. They're going to be disowned. Because my grandmother told him the same thing. And we're not going to act like that's not a normal. Everybody here, and especially people in the LGBTQ community, has known that homophobia is a real thing. Nobody goes out into the community and say, oh, look at a man and a woman together. That's this, that. They don't get discriminated against. So why would we need that representation? We don't need that representation. We have it. They don't have to face the challenges that others have to face. Why do we act like we don't know this? It's very, very saddening to sit up here and say this has no place on the county board agenda, because you know what? The people are our business. Representing these people and making them feel welcome in this county is our business.
Yes.
So I cannot believe that I have to sit here and listen to this. Like, what about homosexual veterans and the things that they had to overcome? As if they were always belonging and not discriminated against, as if they were always allowed to be in the army. They wanted to fight for our rights too, but guess what? Someone told them, no, you're gay, you can't. And we're not gonna act like that didn't happen. We're not gonna act like we needed to pass real laws to make these things happen. So yes, it's our business. It belongs on the county agenda. And I wholeheartedly support this. And for anyone who thinks that this is not a struggle that everyday people have to overcome, just do some research, please. Just talk to some people, please. Thank you.
We have one more speaker, County Board Member Freeman.
Thank you. I don't know how I can possibly follow that. Thank you, Destiny. I'm just going to say I'm echoing her words because she took them all. Thank you. Excellent.
Thank you. So roll call has been requested. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Balich. Trainier.
Yes.
Dean Schlattman. Van Dyne. Pretzel. Oh, sorry, he's not here. Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Winfrey. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz.
Yes.
Mueller.
Yes.
Costa. Ogella. Yeah.
16 in the affirmative, the motion carries. So we have Board Member Mitchell for the proclamation on Father's Day.
Okay, ready? On Father's Day, we celebrate the dads, stepdads, grandfathers, and father figures in our lives who shape who we are and set an example for the kind of people we aspire to be. They sacrifice so we can succeed. They mentor us so we can reach our potential, and they believe in us so we can learn to believe in ourselves. Across America, fathers work tirelessly every day to build a better future for their families, devoting their lives to ensuring that their children are safe, supported, and empowered to pursue their dreams. Today, we honor these men who have showered us with guidance, encouragement, and unconditional love. We celebrate and honor the men who have embraced the essential role of fatherhood. Through acts of selflessness, determination, and love, fathers and father figures enrich and bless our lives. Today, we thank them for boldly embracing the tremendous responsibility of raising our children. A father's time, attention, and mentorship are crucial to the physical, emotional, and spiritual growth of his child. Increasingly, research has shown that children with involved fathers are more likely to have healthy self-esteem, do well in school, and make higher salaries as adults. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive do hereby recognize fathers in Will County. Be it further resolved that we express our heartfelt love and appreciation to fathers, whether their children are by birth, adoption, foster care, or just by choice for the many sacrifices they have made to ensure that their children have every opportunity to reach their full potential in life. Happy Father's Day, and I so move.
Motion by Mitchell, seconded by Ogala. Any discussion? I hope not. All right, all right. Would you like a roll call vote? Madam Clerk, they would like yeah, no, I just want to, they were talking, we'd like a roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlattman. Van Dyne. Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Winfrey. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell.
Yes, for my dad and all the dads.
Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Ogala. $18.
18 in the affirmative,
Mhm.
the motion carries. County Board Member Berkowitz for the proclamation for D-Day.
Thank you, Madam Executive. And I'd like to invite some of our very special guests to join me here at the podium. Brian, come on up and join us. These are local veterans who have served our country faithfully and bravely. Thank you for being here today. I'm very proud to read this proclamation to honor the veterans who have served our country, to give us the freedoms to live our lives as we choose every day. So often we don't think about these freedoms that we have, which are so unique in the world. So thank you for being here today. Proclamation for D-Day. On June 6, 1944, D-Day, more than 130,000 American and Allied troops stormed the beaches of Normandy, France, and thousands more parachuted in behind enemy lines on a mission to retake Europe from the control of Nazi Germany. The night before the operation, the target, the largest amphibious assault in the history of war, General Dwight D. Eisenhower issued a message to the Allied Expeditionary Force: "The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people are with you and march with you. We accept nothing less than full victory." President Roosevelt asked our nation to pray for these courageous service members' strength as they set upon a mighty endeavor, a struggle to preserve our republic, our religion, and our civilization, and to set free a suffering humanity. 80 years later, these words remind us of the magnitude of the day and of the heroism of thousands who waded onto those beaches, parachuted into the countryside, and gave their all to change the course of history and to bring liberty to millions. As we reflect on the sacrifices made on D-Day, we are reminded that freedom is not free. It has never been free, and it is not guaranteed. Every generation must earn it, fight for it, and defend it in the battle between autocracy and democracy, between the greed of a few and the rights of many. Today, we pause to remember and honor all the brave soldiers, sailors, and airmen whose selfless sacrifices catalyzed the deliverance of oppressed people and secured freedom for decades to come. May we always be true to the virtues and principles for which D-Day, that generation, paid so dearly. And as we mark 80 years since D-Day, since the landings, we recognize that their legacy grows ever more meaningful with time. The story of America will forever include the valor and sacrifice of the intrepid servicemen who took to those beaches in Northwest France on June 6, 1944. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive take this time to remember this 80th anniversary of D-Day. Be it further resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive thank those that served our great nation, as well as those who continue to serve and will serve in the future. And I so move.
Motion by Berkowitz, seconded by Ogala. Any discussion? All in previous roll call by Mitchell, seconded by Mueller, all in favor. And if, oh, I'm sorry, please change. Would you like to be a yes, sir? All, very good. All, we're going to add Mr. Butler as a yes, all in favor. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you all. And we have a special guest today that I would like to invite to speak. And before I introduce him, I also want to share that I have a personal connection to this war. My mother was on an island in the Philippines. When the Japanese landed, she was 5 years old. Her life was forever changed on that day. And if it were not for the Allied forces, the American soldiers that landed on that island, many people would not have survived. And they lost most of the population, the children, the elders in the village. So this is very real to me. And I appreciate the opportunity and that we are recognizing this and keeping this alive, because we forever changed Europe. It's there today because of us. And this is very important that we continue this message. So I'd like to introduce Wayne Fisher. Wayne served as a Marine aviator in the 1968 Tet Offensive, completing nearly 700 combat missions during the Vietnam War. Wayne served in the midst of battle, piloting helicopters for insertions, extractions, and medevac operations. The Vietnam War was the longest conflict in the history of the Marine Corps, with over 13,000 Marines killed and more than 88,000 wounded. Today, Wayne continues to give to the community. Wayne has served as the state commander of the Illinois American Legion and past commander of the Naperville American Legion Post 43. I thank all veterans standing here with us today that continue to actively serve our community in so many different ways. Wayne, it's an honor to have you here. Would you like to say a few words? Thank you.
First of all, thank you for allowing a Marine to come and speak. That's a joke, folks, so lighten the group up here a little bit, but yeah, back on June 6th on TV, you got to see a lot of our World War II survivors and stuff, and they're not obviously not going to be with us very long, but you know, and you look at that war and what they faced. We lost, U.S. lost 2,501 soldiers over there, day one. We lost 29,000 during that invasion and stuff. In Vietnam, we lost over 58,000 men and women because women were not in active combat per se, but they were nurses and they got caught up in the conflict along with everybody else. I was fortunate. I got to fly helicopters in the Marine Corps over there, and we flew every mission, as Julie said. But it just hit me a few years ago because we have a guy in Naperville who has put together a Vietnam Wall, and we'll have it back up in next year. But it hit me because I've always tried to deal with Gold Star families. Make sure they're invited, the local families, make sure they're invited to any patriotic event we have in Naperville. But it just hit me, you know, the last mission of our day, if we had KIAs, but the last mission of the day was to bring those KIAs out of the field back to the base morgue. Now, I never had a count on that, but it hit me that that was their first leg coming home. And the families back then appreciated the fact that most all, there's still 1,200 and some that are missing in action, can't account for. But when you look back on it, that's one of the most prideful things I think about when I go back and visit the Vietnam War one more time. But again, thank you, folks. And again, because of all these losses, we're able to sit in this room today and do what we do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it. Can we get a picture?
I think they want you in the middle, sir. No, you're not doing that. Always, I know, I've got that. Yep, you got it. Thank you. Thank you for being here, sir. Thank you. All right. Well, I have to tell a quick story since we're on the topic of veterans. So I had the privilege of speaking at the Memorial Day at Arlington National Cemetery. And the day before, this is just kind of an interesting, my father was Marine in the Korean War, and I was at a couple events. The day before that celebration, we had learned that a Shorewood resident, brother's remains were coming home from Korea after 73 years. So that the Wednesday after Memorial Day, we were able to have they had a celebration there at Arlington. So, I mean, these are still, we're still fighting these battles. So thought I'd just share that story because it was pretty amazing. But with that, we're moving on to the public comments for today's agenda items. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on any of the agenda items? Anyone here to speak? All right. Moving on to old business, all resolutions and ordinance from the May 16th, 2024 board meeting have been signed and returned, except resolutions 24, 132, 136, and 137, which were not returned. 24, 138, and 24, 142, which were vetoed by the county executive. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yep. I know, I'm getting it, sorry. What? Oh, it won't even. Yeah, okay,
Old business item?
okay. You're right. Okay, you got Judy's going, sorry.
Don't matter. Don't worry about it. I'll just use this thing.
Got it on now.
Oh, you got it.
It's gonna take some time, go ahead. It'll take some time.
All right, following the county executive's recent veto, there were concerns regarding the necessity of hiring a consultant for a crucial county project. To illustrate the importance of having an impartial professional on the board, let me provide an example. I was informed about certain records being shredded in the spring of 2020, which should not have been destroyed. Despite reaching out to the executive's office, we did not receive any updates on whether or not they have been destroyed. Despite reaching, I'm sorry, I'm reading it. I'm not a good reader.
So, Mr. Bale,
But the bottom line.
I don't know if this is relative to any of the old
bottom
business.
line is that we need to have, the reason we need an impartial person like Mr. Sherlstrom, who's highly respected in the field, is because in order to move forward on the landfill committee, we don't know enough of the details, and we have to rely strictly on staff. And what I just said was, I asked at the county board meeting when Jennifer Sharp took over the destruction of records, what happened to the records that Dean Olson had? And then they said they'd get back to me, but you know how life is, you just don't follow through sometimes. And I never asked again about it. And after we got this, the veto, I thought about it. I said, well, this is a good example of why we have to have somebody that's impartial, somebody that knows what's going on, somebody that has experience with multiple landfills. And that's why we wanted to have Mr. Sherlstrom. And, the county executive, you vetoed it, and I don't know exactly why. You cited conflict of interest. We got too many people, whatever. But we don't. We have to rely on, like you said we have two consultants. One of them is Devin Moose. Devin Moose is an environmental engineer, and he's one of the best. But he's not a consultant like we want. We want somebody that can speak to the stuff that Mr. Halston does too. Because Mr. Halston, I know when he's talking, sometimes he gets off in a tangent, and it's hard to follow what they're saying. So we need somebody to represent us at the county board level on that landfill committee that can help us along and let us know when something's right or something's wrong. And let us know if we're moving too slow or moving too fast, and what direction do we need to go in. And I don't want to rely on the staff. They're doing their thing, but we don't know. We're supposed to be directing the staff, not the staff directing us. We set the policy, not the staff. The question is it good to have the landfill where it is? I wonder if it's better to move it to a different location maybe. Do we need the vertical and the horizontal? Which one? You listen to one. We need somebody that understands this. There's too many unrecognized things for our board because we're novices. It's like taking somebody in kindergarten and telling them to make a budget. You can't do that. So that's why we need that guy. And I just want to make that a real big point, because we're going to try to override the veto. And I don't that's the other thing, to get 14 votes to override anything is difficult. To get 14 people on this board to agree to something, that's difficult. So I'm a little bit discouraged that the veto happened.
So we're going to add Mr. Pretzel to the roll call. I think he came about 10:19. So County Board member, you're on already. Yeah.
Sorry, Jennifer. I would like to make a motion to postpone reconsideration of the veto of Resolution 24-172 to the July 18th, 2024 County Board meeting.
There's a motion to postpone and override the July.
To postpone the reconsideration of the veto.
Motion by Ogala, seconded by Berkowitz. Any discussion? Hold on. Sorry, you're on, ma'am.
Thank you. Could the state's attorney tell us what that exactly means? Thank you.
So the motion would keep the reconsideration or the overriding of the veto alive and put it on till the next month. You have to consider it at the following meeting. This was presented, this is the following meeting from that resolution. So since it's been vetoed, you needed to consider it at this meeting. And there's been a request to postpone that as we've done before. Yes.
Yeah, yes, go ahead.
Make it easy. Just say to move it forward to the July County Board meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
There was a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Madam, okay.
So now that we have established that this was not a $50,000 expenditure and only a $15,000 expenditure, I think that when committees are formed, that the rest of the board should allow a certain amount of leeway with those committees to come up with recommendations. And you should trust your board, your committee members, that if they need help and they don't feel they're able to get to the conclusions that they need to give proper recommendations, then, and they're asking for help, I think it would behoove all the members on this board to extend that help by allowing them to have that counsel that they're requesting. So I just think, there's no reason not to do it. And I hope that there's not just knee-jerk reactions because, Republican brought it up and, somebody, the Democrats just going to say no. I don't believe all Democrats are like that, but sometimes I've seen that happen on this board. And I'd like to think that, just trying to be, so I'm just trying to ask everyone to have an open mind and allow the committee to do their work. It's a very small fee. And I'm hoping that people will understand the necessity for it. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we have we don't, because kind of. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. We are voting on voting in July, the July board meeting to override this.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlottman. Van Dyne. Pretzel. Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Diaz. Oh, sorry. She's not here. Winfrey. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Ogella.
vote was no.
13.
13 in the affirmative, the motion carries. Moving on to new business, we have a presentation on the enterprise zone from Colleen Smith from Invenergy, and I believe she's coming online. Is that what? Yes? All right. Are we going to have, are you going to do it, Mr. Pryor? Okay. All right. Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, good morning. I'm Doug Pryor from the Will County Center for Economic Development. Thank you for the opportunity to talk both about the Invenergy project and the expansion of the Joliet Arsenal Enterprise Zone today. I'll start with the Invenergy project. This is a project actually been working to locate here in Will County for some time. For those of you that aren't familiar with Invenergy, they are a Chicago-based privately held energy company. They work in a lot of different spaces. You can see on the slide deck, natural gas, solar, wind, transmission, clean hydrogen. They have a broad portfolio of projects around the country. Invenergy has been looking for a place to expand and add their center of excellence. They have chosen a site in Bolingbrook. It's on Remington Boulevard. The Center for Excellence will serve as the training facility for Invenergy staff throughout this region. So we'll see a lot of travel to the region associated with this project. It will also serve as their maintenance facility for what I would call small parts from turbines. They're not bringing in turbine blades, but rather the motor that sits atop them. Those will come to Bolingbrook for service and then be redeployed into the field. Overall, this is a significant job add. They'll be taking the facility that will be vacated by ATI at the end of this year. So 135,000 square foot building. The reason why we're seeking an enterprise zone expansion actually started with this project, but has expanded to cover some additional areas. This is the first time enterprise zone will be introduced to Bolingbrook or Plainfield. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, enterprise zones are a state level tool. We actually have 5 of them here in Will County in various geographies. The enterprise zones themselves offer a few state level incentives as a matter of right to projects located in the zone rather than needing specifically to apply for each one. These include a sales tax exemption on building materials for new build as they come in. They include a manufacturing sales tax exemption for manufacturing equipment. And there also is a utility tax exemption for the state utility tax, but that's for larger job creators. You either need to create 200 or retain 1,000 jobs to receive that exemption within the zones. This expansion is intended to include a few different areas around Bolingbrook. One is it's actually a 50+ acre parcel that is immediately south of Bolingbrook Promenade, which has been targeted for additional commercial or office development. An additional commercial development in Bolingbrook on Weber Road, and the plaza at 55 and 53, the former and currently being rehabilitated shopping center in that area. In addition to that, Plainfield is adding some acreage near 55 and 30, near the Boulevard project area. This tool is just, it's another arrow in the quiver, a way to try to incent projects to move into these regions. And we're targeting, again, areas that are specifically designed for additional commercial development as opposed to industrial or residential, which has largely been our practice with these enterprise zones. This is one that's been expanded before. I think our most recent zone expansion in Will County that this board would have looked at would have been in the late teens. It took in Ecolab's project area and parts of the Cullinan project at 55 and 80. These are net positives for the region and something we would certainly welcome your support on. And I know Chair Ogala and I spoke about this, and we were talking about the land area available in these. Just so you know, these do have finite amount of land available within them. However, last year, the General Assembly increased the size of this type of zone from 15 square miles to 20. So we added an additional 3,000 plus acres of availability to expand this zone. Today's offering utilizes nothing near that. So we reserve the right to expand in the future and add additional projects that would be attractive to the communities or county where they're looking to develop. So a lot of land left in this one. You'll see me again on this one at some point, but what we have before you today is largely the Bolingbrook and Plainfield spaces. And happy to take any questions, of course, too.
County Board Member Butler.
Thank you. How many windmill projects did you say you had in Will County?
No, this is not for windmill projects within Will County. Will County, while we do have some wind, it's actually modest here. Typically, the nearer you get to urbanized areas, the less wind projects you have. Invenergy does have wind projects throughout the region. This will just be the service hub where the actual maintenance work for the motor that sits atop the windmill will take place.
How many megawatts does thank you, sorry, Mike. How many megawatts does a solar field put out?
So it depends on the size of the solar field. And again, Invenergy is not proposing that type of project here. That's not what this is. But solar projects in general, it's about 7 acres per megawatt. So you kind of do the math as you expand the size of the project area. But again, that's not related to this in particular, but in general, that's the case.
So maybe you could explain something to me. In the state of Illinois, we don't allow the solar fields to be, directed into the homes, right, to save money. It has to be sold on the market back to ComEd, correct?
No, you're getting a little bit outside of my area of expertise, though. Will admit
I thought it was fed back into the grid.
So
and ComEd buys that power back from you.
So energy is fungible, right? An electron is fungible. And so whether you're producing and pushing back to the grid and taking some back isn't particularly that molecule doesn't matter, right? And so theoretically, you can power your home, and any additional that you can create gets pushed back to the grid, which, again, creates an offset for people that utilize solar.
The only reason I asked that question, like with windmills and solar fields that, in the state of Illinois, as I understand it, the power has to be fed back into the grid, and then they get actually reimbursed through the power company. But at any time, these power grids could be, or these energy sources could be shut down based on the current rate, what the buying rate would be. And I'm just saying, it never seems like the electrical rate with all this solar fields and windmills, it never seems like our unit costs go down.
So I'm going to interrupt for a minute because just real quick, I know because he is here just to, and I know Chair Ogala was going to say the same thing. We're not talking. This is just we're voting on the actual just the enterprise zone today. So this is not about solar. It's not about wind. They're looking for a headquarters, is from what I understand. So just so people are clear, and he's not. I mean, he knows about the project. He's not the expert in the, I don't want to insult you there.
I
but you know
will,
what
I
mean.
will withdraw my question.
Okay.
In fairness, though, do reach out. I've been fortunate enough to work a lot of energy projects over over the years, and certainly I worked in the energy industry when I was younger and smarter. But it is something that if you want to have a conversation about that, I'm happy to, because it's a fascinating space. I will add, just on the floor in this space, Will County is not only the largest power producer in Illinois, but in the Midwest. So it is an important part of our region's economy.
So I'm going to let Chair Ogala kind of explain why we clarify what the presentation here is for today.
Thank you.
Colleen Smith is
So,
on now, if helpful.
Oh,
There we go. If Colleen we'd love to have Colleen speak because she can give a great explanation as to what this company wants to do and how beneficial it will be, not just for our region, but the country as wide, because of the fact that it's going to be a training center. So Colleen, if you're there, go ahead.
Yeah, apologies. Sometimes, doing these things virtual is challenging, and I really apologize that I couldn't be there today. I'm not sure if you all can see my video, but at least you've got my voice now. So I want to thank you, Chair Ogala and Executive Bertina Tarrant and members of the board for giving me the opportunity today to present. My name is Colleen Smith. I serve as the Senior Director of Government Affairs for Invenergy. I really appreciate Doug for talking a bit about what this project is and our company. And thank you for, I think, see if we could go to the to the top of the slides. I'll just run through a brief presentation and then answer some of the questions that have already been raised. And again, apologies, I had some travel and I couldn't be there in person, but please know Invenergy is very committed to being a close partner to Will County. And if there are members of the board at any point between now and in the future, don't hesitate to reach out. I will make myself available to each and every one of you. And I appreciate your consideration today. So Invenergy, for those of you who aren't familiar, is the nation's leading privately held developer of energy solutions. For over 20 years, we've been headquartered in Chicago and often call ourselves the largest energy company you've never heard of, but we've developed over 200 projects across multiple countries. As Doug mentioned, from natural gas to solar to storage. We have many projects here in Illinois that I'll get to next, but what I really want you to take away is that Invenergy is at the forefront of all forms of energy technology and is one of the largest wind and solar energy producers in the country, and continuously trying to evolve and support a robust energy economy, which we believe the Center of Excellence is going to help us accomplish. I also want to make sure you understand that Invenergy is not just a developer, but an owner and an operator of energy solutions. So when I say that, we understand what it means to be an active and engaged member of a community for the duration of a project's life. We have projects here you can see throughout the state of Illinois. We've been in LaSalle County for decades, right? We've been in communities in Tennessee for, since 2004, and we're there contributing to county fairs and local technical colleges, and we will be very present in the community here when we announce the Center of Excellence. So as you can see, we've contributed throughout the state a significant amount from those assets. If we can move to the next slide briefly. Thank you, Tim, for managing this for us. Invenergy Services is our operational arm of the company. Our asset managers, our control center operators, data scientists, the field technicians. These are the folks that are operating not just the Invenergy owned projects, but projects on behalf of many of our customers. And this is really a growth for our company. We have over 1,500 employees for Invenergy Services globally. And this is the arm of the company that's being served by the Center of Excellence, not to some of the questions that were raised earlier, the development of new wind and solar. So if we can go to the next slide, I'll talk about the Center of Excellence. As has been mentioned, we're very excited to expand Invenergy's footprint in Illinois. We remain committed to partnering with the state and expanding that engagement with Will County and the community, certainly of Bolingbrook as well. we're a proven and trusted partner, and the Center of Excellence represents an expansion of Invenergy's footprint in Illinois, but also an expansion of how we're thinking about the clean energy transition and making sure that renewable energy manufacturing and machine parts, as well as the training, continues to be consolidated. So the next slide, I believe you'll see the Center of Excellence, which we officially acquired a lease on, has 4 primary business units. It's the 135,000 square foot facility, as I believe the executive mentioned, it's the ATI facility. And it's going to serve as Invenergy Services training facility. This will be for Invenergy Services employees and technicians that are, again, going out into the fields globally. We train about 1,300 service employees today from hotel rooms and temporary locations. And we're really excited to be building a hands-on classroom in this facility and bringing hundreds of employees at a time into the community, staying at local hotels and supporting local establishments while they get that training. It's also going to serve as a machine shop at where we will be manufacturing components for some turbine parts, predominantly heavy main bearings and shafts, as well as storing some of those materials that have long lead times so that when anywhere in the world where we're operating a wind, solar, storage gas project, if there's a small part that needs to be repaired or replaced, we can bring that from our facility in Bolingbrook more quickly and really make sure that those projects are operational. And then finally, I will just say that it's going to, here we go, this perfect site. We're excited about choosing Bolingbrook, not only because of proximity to our global headquarters, where we have 700 employees in Chicago, obviously locations to the airports, but also because of the community that exists today and the opportunity to partner with the local community colleges and Joliet and Center of DuPage to make sure that we have local workforce opportunities. We expect that the construction for rehabbing the facility will employ about 250 to 300 construction workers, hoping to complete that by the end of the year. And then the kind of short term, in the next 2 years to 3 years, the Center of Excellence will create about 40 new jobs, again, expanding to the 1,300 trainees that we will have annually. With that, I will just leave you with a few other comments. I know there are renderings on the next slide too. This is moving multiple business functions of Invenergy into one really state-of-the-art, first-of-its-kind facility. We're really excited to be bringing that to this community. I hope to invite all of you to come and see it when it looks like this and they're not just renderings. And again, as we have seen and we've experienced not only in where we have offices, but where we have projects, we are going to be in the community for decades to come. And we want to make sure that we're transparent, that we're open, that if you all have questions, that we are there and we can provide opportunities for the local community to engage in tours and training themselves, that we're helping with the next workforce and contributing as well over the next 10 years over $2.5 million in property taxes. And then finally, since there are other projects in the enterprise zone amendment that I know Doug mentioned, I will just thank certainly the Will County Executive again and the chair, as well as Leader Natalie Manley and Senator Curran and Senator Capel for the letters of support that they provided that I think are being submitted to the record. So apologies again for the delay and for the fact that I couldn't be there in person, but I really appreciate the time you all have afforded to hear about this project and why we're so excited to bring it to the community. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. We appreciate you being here. So we are going to move on now to the Land Use and Development Committee.
Madam Executive, I'd like to make a motion to open public hearing for all land use cases.
Motion by Pretzel, seconded by Revis. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Balich, Trainier, Dean Schlottman, Van Dyne, Pretzel,
Yes.
Butler, Newquist, Richmond, Parker, Williams, Winfrey, Logan, Freeman, Revis, Mitchell, Ortiz, Berkowitz, Mueller, Costa, Ogala. 20.
We are now in public hearing. Please be advised, absolutely no new evidence or information will be allowed once this land use public hearing is closed. Do we have anyone to speak in public hearing? Thank you. We invite you to come up. Please state your name, and if you can be efficient and concise, that would be appreciated.
Is it not? Okay, thank you. Good morning, Madam Executive, Madam Chair, and members of the board. My name is Maria Brees. I'm an attorney from McCully Lyman. I'm here with my client today regarding zoning case ZC 24011, item 2 in your agenda. The address of the property involved is 25953 West Hansel Road in Shanahan. This is a special use application for 2 solar facilities to be sited at the subject parcel in District 1 near Shanahan. I would like to state why the board should consider approving the requested special use permit for the solar facilities as recommended by the land use staff, despite the vote denying approval by the PZC and the Land Use Committee. Under section 155-16.40, subparagraph H1A for special use zoning applications for commercial solar energy facilities, the county board shall within 30 days after the completion of the public hearing approve the request if the standards and conditions of the zoning ordinance and the conditions imposed under state and federal statutes and regulations are met. Our submitted application complied with all of the requirements under the Will County Solar Ordinance, as noted by the land use staff in their report. The Will County Solar Ordinance specifies that the submittal requirements in section 155-9.245Q shall expressly control over the application filing requirements under section 16.40, which includes additional review and criteria standards, such as whether proposed project would impede development of surrounding property for the uses permitted in the district. Along with the Will County zoning ordinance, the projects are in compliance and will comply with all other applicable county, state, and federal requirements. The Village of Shanahan and Shanahan Township submitted resolutions in opposition of the projects. I would like to address the reasons for this opposition and why we believe those reasons are not a valid basis for the county to deny the special use permit. My client will also address the opposition after me. As you're well aware of the State Renewables Siting Act, it sets forth siting requirements which commercial solar energy facilities must meet in order to be approved by county authorities. Subparagraph H states that a county may not adopt zoning regulations that disallow permanently or temporarily commercial solar energy facilities being developed or operated in any district zone to allow agricultural or industrial uses. Our proposed solar facilities are located on a 130-acre parcel in unincorporated Will County in a district that allows agricultural uses. The village would prefer my client site its projects in an industrial zone district, as another solar developer has done. However, according to ComEd's hosting capacity map, ComEd's existing distribution feeders in the industrial zone areas near the village do not have capacity to host another community solar project of our size. In fact, ComEd has identified the subject parcel as a valuable location to site this public necessity because it is next to ComEd's distribution grid, where there is available capacity. Siting the projects anywhere else would not be feasible because of the cost to build additional transmission infrastructure or a lack of capacity on ComEd's grid. While the subject parcel is 130 acres, we are only using half of that parcel, about 64 acres. This allows for the remaining area to be used for the municipal utility lines and roads connecting to future subdivisions according to the village's comprehensive plan on the additional 244 acres of undeveloped land surrounding the subject parcel. Half of that which is zoned R1 and under the authority of the Village of Shanahan. This additional land already within the corporate limits of the village is potentially available for residential construction and would absorb at least 75% of the water usage that the village is concerned under a contract to procure Lake Michigan water entered into by the village. In sum, the proposed solar facilities would not impede development of surrounding property for the uses permitted in the district, which are agricultural, not residential, for this proposed location. The village asserts that the project will impede development on the parcel for uses planned by the village in its comprehensive plan, and that the village has extra jurisdictional review. Because the subject parcel is contiguous and within 1.5 miles of the corporate limits of the village, we question whether this hearing is the right forum to raise the village's questions of jurisdictional authority. But to touch on this briefly here, under Illinois Municipal Code Section 1113(1), the village's comprehensive plan is only advisory and does not give the village authority to exercise zoning powers. Will County Zoning Authority supersedes the village's municipal planning authority. So municipal review is not required. My client notified the village of the proposed projects in February, but no application for municipal review was submitted as the village did not have jurisdiction. At the Land Use Committee, the village also raised an argument that the village could impose its residential subdivision regulations on the proposed projects. The village subdivision ordinance is not applicable here, allowing the village the authority to exercise its subdivision regulations over a non-subdivided and unannexed parcel would amount to a prohibition of solar as a permitted use, causing the county ordinance to be more restrictive than the state statute. The village claims the proposed use is not compatible with the surrounding existing residential uses. However, the Land Use Department staff's professional finding of fact notes that our low-impact use solar facility will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity. My client completed a study in Will County that was submitted to the Land Use Committee, showing there was no consistent negative impacts to property values adjacent to operating solar farms. In fact, even after taking into account the increase in property values, the data shows that property values increased by a greater percentage in neighborhoods close to solar projects after the solar project was installed. Madam Executive, Madam Chair, members of the board, we respectfully submit that the materials supporting special use application ZC 24011 demonstrate that the proposed projects meet all criteria necessary for the county board to vote in favor of granting this requested special use permit under Will County Solar Ordinance and under the state solar siting statute. Thank you, and I'm available for questions.
All right, good morning. Good morning, Madam Executive, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Jonathan Roberts. I'm Vice President of Development with Soltage. We, like Invenergy, are an IPP, an independent power producer. That means we own and operate projects across the United States, about 14 states that we operate in, about 500 megawatts of projects. I've been working in the renewable sector in Illinois specifically for the last 10 years. And during that time, I've both developed and been involved in the construction of over 100 facilities in 9 states, including Illinois. In Illinois, we have about 11 of the type of facilities that is being discussed today that we've started construction on. And I think I've been before the Will County Board in the past with about 5 different successful special use permits that I've worked on with the members of the board here. This 2 solar facilities we're discussing today sited on parcel of District 1 near Shanahan. I'd like to state to the board why you should consider approving the requested special use permit for the solar facilities as recommended by the land use staff of Will County and despite a vote to deny approval by the PZC and the Land Use Committee. The subject parcel is 130 acres of unincorporated agricultural zone land. However, we will only be using half of the parcel, about 64 acres. The remaining area can still be utilized if terms are ever reached for a municipal utility lines and roads connecting to the future subdivision according to the village's comprehensive plan on the 300 acres surrounding the subject parcel that is undeveloped and a possibility. The additional land potentially available for residential construction would absorb at least 75% of the water usage planned by the village under its contract to procure Lake Michigan water. The closest resident to the project looking northwest across South McKinley Woods Road is 622 feet away. To the east, the closest residence is 675 feet, and both are, at a distance equal to the length of almost 2 football fields and over 4 times the setback required by the Will County Solar Ordinance of 150 feet. The Shanahan Fire Protection District has claimed that the project would bring a lack of significant tax benefit to the district. Estimated tax benefits for the project to Will County, the Shanahan Township School District, and Fire District are over $1 million without any additional burden to the Fire Protection District. Solar farm fires are very rare, and we discussed in one of the last meetings about thermal runaway, which is a condition that is brought about sometimes with the use of battery storage. And just to state for the record very emphatically that these projects do not have battery storage of what is being discussed to be proposed today, like the other assets that we operate actively across the state. The preliminary emergency services plan was submitted to the county with our application, and prior to construction, we will submit an emergency services plan to the Shanahan Township Fire Protection District and the Will County Emergency Management Agency. We will also create a pre-incident planning program that includes ingress and egress from the project site. In addition, we will provide firefighter and fire safety training for photovoltaic systems to the fire district. Our site plan was updated after feedback from the PZC and Land Use Committee to include space for a 10-foot wide bike path with 3-foot buffers on each side. The landscape plan was also updated based on feedback from PZC and Land Use Committee to have additional screening and ground cover pollinator mix acceptable to both the Will County Forest Preserve, and our project will be recognized by the Illinois Department of Natural Resources as a pollinator-friendly solar site. In addition, we updated the fencing to include an ag fence that is wildlife friendly. In response to the village, we have submitted stormwater management plan and EcoCat report will be obtained from the IDNR prior to construction. And the village would like to upgrade McKinley Woods Road, which is under the jurisdiction of the township, to an arterial road from a collector road. Under the state renewable siting law, a solar developer is responsible for improving and maintaining the road to the extent necessary to construct the project, but not for a major road upgrade. We will have a road use agreement with Shanahan Township, and after construction, there will be minimal traffic to the facilities. We reached out again to parties required to be notified under the Will County Solar Ordinance who did not respond to the notice of development letters. We have documented and submitted our outreach efforts. We have been and remain willing to work with our neighbors to ease their concerns. We are committed to developing the projects in a way that would be an asset to Will County, like the presentation we heard before, and help the state reach its renewable energy portfolio standard goals. Throughout the life of projects, solar facilities will comply with all applicable county, state, and federal requirements, and we respectfully submit to the board, base its decision on the Will County Solar Ordinance, submittal requirements, and finding of fact that our application meets all the criteria necessary under the Will County Solar Ordinance for the board to vote in favor of granting the requested special use permit. Thank you for your time, and I'm available for questions.
Any questions? Okay. You are on, ma'am.
I'm just curious, does the solar company own the property?
We do not. A local Will County resident owns the property.
Okay. Will federal dollars be used to subsidize this project?
We monetize the federal investment tax credit, but that's not a grant or money received by the federal government to the project or the company, if that makes sense.
I understand that. Do you have a conservation plan? I know you guys talked about pollinators and everything, but we have had solar facilities built, and the proper installation of items to protect this water runoff and that the dirt moving from the property has not been done. Do you guys have a conservation plan in place yet?
We will be in complete compliance with the agricultural impact mitigation agreement required by the Illinois Department of Agriculture. To real quickly address removing soil from the site. We won't remove any.
It would be runoff from, if there was a lot of rain.
Right.
The dirt would be disturbed, of course, then it would run off during that time.
Of course, and we seek to mitigate that with, stabilizing the soil with some type of cover crop during the construction period, to help minimize that. And of course, we, with the IDNR and the Illinois EPA, have a general permit under the NPDES, the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System. And we have a SWIP plan that's basically like a stormwater pollution prevention plan during the construction phase. And longer term, of course, we were very closely coordinating with IDNR on the mix that's utilized on the site to be local species, and with the Forest Preserve gave us some feedback as well that we would take into account.
Okay, and I'm just saying this because of the fact that we have had solar facilities that have been built that said that they were in compliance and we had the NPDES and they had failed that. And currently they have an IPA situation going on with that. So I'm just looking to make sure that we cover all our bases so we prevent this from continuing
Absolutely.
to happen with these solar facilities, because that does impact the surrounding landowners when you have that.
Absolutely.
That happen. So I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that. And then have you at all had a conversation with the Will South Cook Soil and Water Conservation District yet?
I think we have, in terms of working with them on the NRI and, generating the LISA score for the project. So we've been in consultation with them to that effect.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
County Board Member Ballage.
I just have two questions. The first one is, have you supplied the MSDS reports to the county so we know that everything that you're using is not toxic?
I hear your question and concern, and I believe I heard you bring this up in the Land Use Committee, and it's something we can certainly provide. It wasn't part of the Will County ordinance for the process to
Well, it
apply
will be.
for
I'm going
permit.
to try and get that as part.
Absolutely, but that's
But-
something we're more than happy to supply to you.
Well, if we don't have it, you could be putting toxic materials in and we wouldn't know it. So everything that you use needs an MSDS report.
Right, and we have those, yes.
Well, then we should get them.
Okay. We
And
can
then the
supply.
other thing is taxpayers are paying for this in the form of subsidies to the government. So you say you get subsidies from the government, but that comes from taxpayers. So we're paying for it. Would you have this project? Is it a viable operation without any subsidies at all? Can you just build it and then not take any tax dollars?
The investment tax credit that's applied, if you put one of these on your home and when you file your taxes, you would be able to file for a tax credit. In the same way for this project, we have the investment tax credit, which there's no money that comes to the project, but somebody uses that investment tax credit to offset their tax liability.
Without
just
that
like you
tax
would on a home
credit,
system.
is it a viable project? Because all taxes come from the people. So without getting that money, is this a viable project? Can you
But
make
no
money
money is
without
coming
that
from a
tax credit?
taxpayer to the project is my point. It seems like you're trying to make an argument that tax dollars are coming from a taxpayer and going to the project, and that's not the case.
Well, I don't want to argue anymore about it. I just want to let you know that in my mind, and a lot of other people, when the government gives you money, it comes from me. It comes from everybody. And I don't particularly like the idea that if you didn't get the money, you couldn't survive as a business. So that's where I'm coming from.
I appreciate your concern and the comment. I think it makes a lot of sense. And of course, part of the Inflation Reduction Act to fulfill that purpose is to be able to deploy clean energy so that we can meet our nation's clean energy goals. It was just mentioned that Will County is one of the top energy producers in the country. And I bet if you go back to all of the different projects that have been financed here, there was some level of state, local, or federal tax funding that went into that. It's very common for energy projects, especially in a newer sector, newer technology. Now we're starting to mature and be able to deploy this at scale. And so it is tax dollars. This is a policy decision that has been made by our federal government. And we're able to utilize that and helps our project be viable. So thank you for the question.
County Board Member Freeman and then Dean Schlotman.
Good morning. So I just want to be sure I'm very clear that you have, saw the Forest Preserve's recommendations and that you have you're going to follow through. I heard you talk about the, pollinating. What about the observance of wildlife?
We also have consulted with the Forest Preserve District on making some accommodations on the site for the fencing, like a type of fencing that allows for wildlife to get underneath the fencing within reason. Like there's certain type of wildlife you're obviously trying to screen out, like a deer, for instance, you don't want running around the site, but there's a lot of species that need to, crawl and traverse, and we make accommodation for that.
Right. Would you be possible for you to do the photography if there's visible harm or injury with the documented observation time and location that they were requesting?
We would come up with a compliance plan to that effect to work on that.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
County Board Member Dean Schlottman.
I'm good.
Any more questions? Oh, I'm sorry, County Board Member Berkowitz.
Thank you, Jennifer. So in correspondence from the IDNR, they indicated that if the project uses federal loans or grants or needs federal agency permits or involves assistance, your project must be reviewed under the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966. I just wanted to, if you haven't done that, will you do that? Or because you mentioned you had federal dollars. So just wanted to call that to attention if.
Understood there, but there are no grants or loans coming from the federal government to the project, but we are complying with the IDNR's EcoCat process to identify, the species, if any, present on the site is kind of the way that Illinois screens this at a state level.
Okay. See no more discussion. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here to talk about any? Thank you very much. Anyone else here to speak on any issue in land use? Go once, going twice. All right.
Madam Executive, I move to close public hearing.
Motion by Pretzel, seconded by Dean Schlottman. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlottman. Van Dyne. Pretzel.
Yes.
Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Winfrey. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Yes. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Ogala.
20 in the affirmative, the motion carries. The public hearing is now closed.
Okay, first on the agenda for land use and development. Ordinance amending the Will County, Illinois zoning ordinance adopted and approved as amended for zoning case ZC 24009, Monty Inc., owner of record, requesting a special use permit for a truck terminal in Wilmington Township, commonly known as 23520 West Coal City Road, Wilmington, Illinois, County Board District Number 1. PZC voted 5-0 in approval of a special use permit for a truck terminal with 4 conditions. Land use and development voted 2-4, therefore denying. I did receive a request to motion to table this until the July meeting. The applicant did not seek legal counsel before they came to committee, and after it was voted down, they decided that would be a good idea. So the request came from their attorney to give them some more time to prepare. I'll make that motion.
We're a motion to table by Pretzel, seconded by, I heard it and I didn't, Ogala. Any discussion on the tabling? Madam Clerk, please call the roll. It's on the table.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlottman. Van Dyne. Pretzel.
Yes.
Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Winfrey. Logan. Freeman. Revis, Mitchell, Ortiz, Berkowitz, Mueller, Costa, Ogala.
20 in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, ordinance amending the Will County, Illinois zoning ordinance adopted and approved as amended for zoning case ZC 24011. Pentagon, owner of record. Sorry, there's a lot of parentheses here. Okay, hold on, I got it. And Troy Daniel of BL Company's agent requesting a special use permit for a commercial solar energy facility in Shanahan Township, commonly known as vacant South McKinley Woods Road, Shanahan, Illinois, County Board District Number 1. PZC voted 1-4, therefore denying the special use permit for a commercial solar energy with 4 conditions, and Land Use and Development voted 0-6, therefore also denying, and I so move.
Motion by Pretzel, seconded by Winfrey. Discussion? Is there, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Balich, Trainier, Dean Schlotman, Van Dyne, Pretzel,
No.
Butler, Newquist, Richmond, Parker, Williams, Winfrey, Logan, Freeman, Revis, Mitchell, Ortiz, Berkowitz, Mueller, Costa, Ogala. It's 14 and then
14 in the negative, the motion fails.
Okay, I also have one resolution today, 24-150. This is a request for a refund of fees from building permit for Moni Fire Protection District, and I so move.
Motion by Pretzel, seconded by O'Gall. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Or I'm sorry, County Board Member, or your County Board Member Richmond, do you have a, that's for next time. Okay, yeah, that's fine. All right. But you're fine.
Balich, Balich, Trainier, Dean Schlotman, Van Dyne, Pretzel,
Yes.
Butler, Newquist, Richmond, Parker, Williams, Winfrey, Logan, Freeman, Revis, Mitchell, Ortiz, Berkowitz, Mueller, Costa, Ogala. 20.
20 in the affirmative, the motion carries.
The next Land Use and Development Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, July 9th, 2024 at 10:30 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair Richmond, Finance.
I'm like a horse at the track. I'm ready to go. Yes, absolutely. So, all right, coming out of the gate first, monthly financial reports to be placed on file, and I so move.
Motion, Revis. Second, Revis.
Motion by Richmond, seconded by Ravish. Previous roll call by Mueller, seconded by Ortiz. All in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries.
All right, second item up is the authorization of payment for Hero. What I'd like to do is remand that back to the committee. So move.
So the motion to remand to committee by Richmond, seconded by Ogala. Previous roll call by Mueller, second Ortiz. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Third item up is Resolution 24-152, authorizing county executive to execute necessary documents for delinquent tax programs, and I so move.
Second, Revis.
Motion by Richmond, seconded by Revis. Previous roll call by Ogala, seconded by Winfrey. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Fourth item up, Resolution 24-153, appropriating grant funds for the Illinois Department of Public Health Student Loan Repayment Program Grant, and I so move.
Motion by Richmond, seconded by Freeman. Is there previous? Previous roll call by Costa, seconded by Trinier. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, July 2nd, here at 11 o'clock. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Moving on to Public Works and Transportation.
Let it be known, I'm leaving the room.
We're- County Board Chair Van Dyne.
Thank you. The Public Works and Transportation Committee has 10 items to present this morning. Starting with number one, Resolution 24-155, confirming award of contract to H&H Electric, $234,851.92 for the countywide traffic signal maintenance, all districts, and I so move.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Dean Schlotman. Previous roll call by Winfrey, seconded by Freeman. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 24-156, confirming award of contract to Gallagher Asphalt Corporation, $385,355.60 for Washington Road District resurfacing various roadways, County Board District 2, and I'll make the motion.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by O'Gala. Previous roll call by Freeman, seconded by Ballage. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
24-157, confirming award of contract to Grosso Construction, $263,500 for Florence Road District Seal Coat, District 1. I so move.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Dean Schlotman. Previous roll call by Costa, seconded by Mueller. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 24-158, confirming award of contract to Tri-State Asphalt, $2.78 a gallon for Will Road District Materials Oil, District 2. I so move.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by O'Gala. Previous roll call by Costa, seconded by Freeman. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Number 5 on our agenda, Resolution 24-159, confirming award of contract to Vulcan Construction Materials, $19.75 a ton. Will Road District Materials Aggregate Chips, District 2. I so move.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Mueller. Previous roll call by Winfrey, seconded by O'Gala. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Tell me as a yes.
I was just going to ask you. Thank you very much.
Resolution 24-160, authorizing the county executive to execute an IGA between the County of Will and the Village of Simmerton for construction of the most important appurtenance work within the county right of way. And I so move.
Wow, good. Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Dean Schlotman. Previous roll call by Gala, seconded by Berkowitz. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 24-161, authorizing an agreement for the installation and maintenance of flashing school lights for the Montessori School of Lamont on 135th County Highway 35, District 9. I'll make the motion.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Freeman. County Board, hold on, we have some discussion here. County Board Member Revis.
I know this work probably should be being done in committee. Obviously I support this, but what is the process of requesting flashing school lights such as this? I don't know if that's a question for Chair Van Dyne or what. I bring this up because I don't know if anybody's been following the news. We've had quite a bit of motorcycle accidents happen in the county over the past few weeks. And I actually know an individual who lost her brother in a motorcycle accident. I think it was in Member Ballach and Member Richmond's district, but they wanted to get a sign put up saying watch for motorcycles, and they were told no. So, not that, I understand there's probably good reasons for the no, but, flashing lights like this in front of a school are obviously more substantial, and it's a bigger hurdle to get over. I'm wondering what this went through, what the process was to get this light and how we can apply it to maybe like watch for motorcycle signs.
Thank you, Mr. Revis. And as chair, I would always like to refer my questioning to our expert, in-house expert, Mr. Ronaldson. So madam, if you would allow him to come up and answer that question.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Sorry, Jeff.
I'm here.
The Montessori school flashing lights, those are several $1,000 lights, they're on poles and substantial. School speed zones, we put those signs up when we want something more than the standard, like the school is requesting. They come to us for a permit to put those in, and they pay for those devices. And then there's an IGA that has to be executed that they will maintain those in the future. So there's a permit process. It's a permit to get more substantial appurtenances than the standard sign, post and sign.
Is there a permit process
For the motorcycle signs, that is an MUTCD sign, so we can't put those up. I am unfamiliar with the request you were referring about, so I would have to know more details on that. I'm not aware of a denial on that. But, yeah. All right.
Any other questions on this topic? Oh, County Board Member Trudera?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a suggestion to Member Revis. We had a situation on the same street, 135th Street, with engine braking, and it's a really loud sound. And we have some homes in an unincorporated township there. And the township actually passed an ordinance permitting no engine braking signs to be installed, and the county took that ordinance and put the signs up for us. I can't speak specifically to motorcycles, but for unincorporated, if you go to the township, that might be a place to start.
Thank you. So we have a motion, we have a second. Is there a previous? Previous by Mueller? Seconded by Ortiz. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 24-162, authorizing the Will County Executive to execute land acquisition documents with the state of Illinois for the construction of Laraway Road, County Highway 74, and US Route 52, Districts 2 and 6, and I so move.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Mueller. Is there previous roll call up Ortiz, seconded by, oh, I'm sorry. We have a motion, a second, and County Board Member O'Gala.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, how many parcels are we looking to acquire here? Do you know?
Chair Van Dyne, you have that, are you gonna call? It's coming
I
up.
would have to look up on our packet. Otherwise, if Mr. Robinson
Robinson's
would
coming
like
up.
to come up,
Yep.
thank you.
Chair O'Gala, I do not have the exact account. I know it's probably around a dozen. This agreement only refers to the ones we are taking along Route 52, where we need executive's authority to sign certain documents to make that happen.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted clarification.
So we have a motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Mueller. Previous roll call by Ortiz, seconded by Newquist. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Number 9, Resolution 24-163, authorizing approval of the establishment of altered speed zones 687 through 693 in the Knollcrest subdivision within New Lenox Township Road District. That lies in District 2, and I so move.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by O'Gala. Previous roll call by Mitchell, seconded by Freeman. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
And lastly, Resolution 24-164, adopting the Will County fiscal year 2025 to 2030 Transportation Improvement Program. I so move.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Trinier. Okay. Okay, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlottman. Van Dyne.
Yes.
Pretzel. Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Winfrey. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. O'Gala.
17 in the affirmative, the motion carries.
Thank you. Our next Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024 at 9 a.m. right here in this building. And that will conclude our report. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair Freeman, Public Health and Public Safety Committee.
Good morning. I have nothing to bring forward. There are some very fascinating reports on file. You'll find out if you read them that the Health Department is looking for space replacing countertops. There's an article about ticks and bats and marriages at Sunny Hill. So I suggest you read it. It is a lot of a lot of information. Our next meeting is Tuesday, July 9th, 2024 at 9 a.m.
Thank you. Legislative Committee, Chair Berkowitz.
Thank you, Madam Executive. There's nothing to move forward. You're all invited to our next Legislative and Judicial Committee meeting, Tuesday, July 2nd, at 12 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair Mueller, Capital Improvement and IT.
Good morning, everyone. We have nothing, no resolutions this month. Reports are on our agenda. Please join us at our next meeting, July 2nd at 10 a.m.
Thank you. Landfill Committee, Chair Dean Schlottman.
Good morning, Madam Executive and the board. This month, we did not meet. We were hoping for a reschedule, hoping that at this point we would have had the consultant hired. So it's unfortunate that there was a veto, another veto, stopping this, which I think will help us continue the important work that needs to be done for the citizens of the county. And I was actually quite upset hearing that we thought that this was not something that was within the taxpayers' best interest, considering this is already part of the county board budget, and we are allowed to hire consultants within what we have in our budget. So if we were all concerned about, saving the taxpayers' money, that really could have happened at budget time instead of, voting for a $10 million increase and another increase with the mental health board. But our next meeting will be July 3rd, 2024 at 11 a.m. And I hope to see everyone there.
Thank you. Chair Ogala, Executive Committee.
Steve wanted to say something, sorry.
She's finished up, but I had a question.
Voting on anything in this committee.
No, I know.
Can you wait till is it something that,
It's up for landfill.
okay,
Well,
yeah.
all I'm asking, I'd like you to ask to have put on your agenda, to dig up the information of what happened to those missing documents from 2020, so we can follow it through to the end and find out what happened and what was in it and whatever else. So can you add that to your agenda?
Thank you. Chair Ogala.
Thank you. First item is Resolution 24-165, authorizing the county executive to execute Workforce Investment Opportunity Act contract for work readiness training with Joliet Junior College Workforce Education, and I so move.
Motion by Ogala, seconded by Dean Schlottman. Previous roll call by Trinier.
Nope.
Seconded by,
Make
Nope.
us yeses.
Madam, you want a roll call?
No, just make us.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'm sorry, please change, we have them all who were yeses?
Balich and Dean Schlottman.
Balich, Dean Schlottman, and Ogala will be yeses on this. So previous roll call by Trinier with those three additions, seconded by, did I hear Winfrey? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 2 is Resolution 24-166, authorizing the county executive to execute Workforce Investment Opportunity Act contract for occupational skill training for youth with the Joliet Junior College, and I so move.
Motion by Ogala, seconded by Berkowitz. Previous roll call by Trinier, seconded by Winfrey. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 3 is Resolution 24-167, authorizing the Will County Executive to renew the Will County One-Stop Operator Agreement, and I so move.
Motion by Ogala, seconded by Freeman. Previous roll call by Mitchell, seconded by Costa. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Fourth item is Resolution 24-168, declaring vehicles as surplus and authorizing disposal, and I so move.
Motion by O'Gala, seconded by Freeman. Previous roll call by Berkowitz, seconded by Winfrey. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5 is Resolution 24-169, declaring various equipment surplus and authorizing donation, and I so move.
Motion by O'Gala, seconded by Mitchell. Previous roll call by Winfrey, seconded by Mueller. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 6 is Resolution 24-154, transferring appropriations within various county budgets, and I so move.
Motion by O'Gala, seconded by Mitchell. Previous roll call by Mueller, seconded by Berkowitz. All in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries.
Item 7 is Resolution 24-170, endorsing the Good Food for All resolution at NACO, and I so move.
Motion by O'Gala, seconded by Winfrey. Previous roll call by Mueller, seconded by Berkowitz. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 8 is Resolution 24-171, amending an ordinance establishing and designating an enterprise zone for a portion of the former Joliet Arsenal, and I so move.
Motion by O'Gala, seconded by Van Dyne. Previous roll call by Mitchell, seconded by Mueller. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 9 is Resolution 24-172, authorizing the Will County Executive to enter into an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Bolingbrook, the Village of Plainfield, and the County of Will, and I so move.
Motion by O'Gala, seconded by Mueller. Previous roll call by Freeman, seconded by Winfrey. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, one opposition by Mr. Butler. Motion carries.
Thank you. The next executive committee meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, July 3rd at 10 a.m. So it's a different day because the 4th of July is a Thursday. So update your calendars because we will not be here on the 4th. Moving forward to appointments by the county executive, we have one appointment here today. Resolution 24-173, approving the county executive appointments to the Board of Health of Will County, and I so move.
Motion by O'Gala, seconded by Ortiz. Previous roll call, would you like to be a yes on that, Mr. Butler? Okay. Previous roll call by Mitchell with the inclusion of Mr. Butler, seconded by Mueller. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. So at this time, we're moving on to public comment relative to the matters under the jurisdiction of the county. Is there any public comments relevant to the matters under the jurisdiction of the county? We have one, I know that came in. Come on up, sir, too. We'll wait till. Reminder that our comments are allowed for 3 minutes, so please state your name. They're trying to sweat us out of here. It is warm in here. Yeah. Sorry. Yep, you're on
Okay.
now, sir.
I have a voice that can be heard even above the mic, but thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to get here. I read in the newspaper yesterday in the Tribune, where the executive vetoed an opportunity for this county board to hire their own consultant. And it kind of upset me in that her reasoning was that she wanted to save taxes, payers' money. But in taking a look at some of the other vetoes you've done, you've actually spent a lot of money when you vetoed 143rd, and more money would have been spent. I really think after a bipartisan county board vote where all your leadership is showing that they think that a person should be hired to help in the landfill, the work with the landfill, I think you need to let them go forward with this. And stop going to Springfield to get rules changed in Springfield to give yourself more authority and taking the county board out of decision-making. This is an equal balance of government. That's what the executive branch is. And you're not letting the people do their job. So I felt I needed to come here and speak before this board. Thank you all for all the work that you do here. You guys represent the people, and the county executive should be working closer with you. Thank you.
Quick, I've been asked, can you please state your name for the record? I don't know if you said they asked. for
I
your
thought
name.
I did. Charles Mayer,
There you go.
Naperville.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one to be read in record.
This is from Chuck Worley. Please don't pass a tax increase.
Thank you. Any other person needs to speak? Going once, going twice. All righty. Now we're for the public, Yep. Now we're moving on to county board comments. Please press your button. Be slow, but I'll get there. Oh, thank you. First to 21. County Board Member Freeman.
Thank you. We will not be meeting again until the 4th of July has passed because it is quickly approaching. Celebrations, parades, fireworks, cookouts, and our U.S. flag will be seen all over the place. So as we approach the 4th of July, I want to share a little bit of flat etiquette. I used to teach this in my 5th grade classroom, and I think it's important. It should be raised briskly and lowered ceremoniously. Our flag should fly at sunrise to sunset unless it's properly illuminated at night by a light. The flag should never touch anything beneath it. The Union, AKA the stars, should be situated to the uppermost left corner or the flag's own right. The Union should be to the left of the observer. Unless you own an all-weather flag, it should not be displayed in inclement weather. The flag should never be displayed with the Union down except to send a signal of dire distress in instances of extreme danger of life or property. On half-staff days, it should be raised all the way to the peak for a brief instance and lowered to half. The staff, when it comes back down, should go back up and come down. If hanging on a street, the Union should, if it's on an east and west street, it should face north, and it should point east if it is on a north-south street. The flag should never be carried flat or horizontally, but always aloft and free. It should be centered if in a group of other state flags or city flags. Of the flags, it should be at the highest point. The flag should never be used as a wearing apparel, bedding, or drapery. The flag can be displayed on all days. It should be displayed daily at public institutions, main administration buildings, polling places on election days, and schools on school days. Flags should be destroyed in a dignified way. If you're not sure how to destroy your flag, please contact your local American Legion, as they do collect and retire flags properly. So finally, I want to wish everyone a wonderful and absolutely a safe 4th of July. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to County Board Member Logan.
All right, thank you. I had an opportunity to attend the 708 Mental Health Board meeting this month. I was embarrassed when the president of the board made a heartfelt statement expressing that she was being harassed by county board members in regards to hiring an executive director for this board. She went on to say that they are not merely sending emails, but actually using a phone and calling her. She was visibly upset that board members would tell her who to hire. This is an important position that will helpfully guide this committee to spend the $6 million appropriately. I encourage our board members to not interfere with this committee, and I encourage our board members to attend these meetings. And in regards to Member Freeman's comment, can somebody please bring a flag because they did not have one last meeting? Thank you.
I'm just going to make a quick correction because I was at that meeting. I don't think it was regarding the executive director. From what it was regarding proposals for how to use the money. Just so, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I just want to make sure. But regardless, your point is clear. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Moving on, we have County Board Member Butler.
So I just wanted to speak to the people. We hear a lot of talk about taxes. And I just want to remind people that most of the taxes that are spent goes towards school boards. It's important that they get out in elections when school board candidates are running and make sure that they vote, because this is where most of the money goes. If you were to compare the school budget in Will County to Will County's budget to run all the things that we have to run, it would be much less. 815 million as opposed to close to 2.5 billion. So I would urge all people to take an active role in their school board elections.
Thank you. County Board Member Revis.
So over the course of the month of June, I got the chance to talk to 300 Will County residents, Upset County residents about their property taxes. Many of them shared to me their opinion that property taxes in Will County and Illinois as a whole are absolutely out of control. That spoke to me. So we Commissioner Raquel Mitchell and I commissioned a poll where 95% of residents said they wanted public officials who have a plan to address property taxes. So with that resonating with me, I tried to bring some of my plan to address high property taxes to the county here. One of those ideas involved crafting language to move the date for the senior property tax freeze, the due date for those appeals to be filed. Right now, they are July 1st, and I want to move them to November 1st. So we have some language for that, but we still haven't gotten it on an agenda yet. So I know that Chief of Staff Flathammer and then Chair Ogala have worked to help get the language where it needs to be. So hopefully next month we see that language get put on an agenda for us to vote on. I think it'd be a good thing. I know last month we had a senior write in about their concerns with property taxes, and I think this would, it's the appropriate time to make this change. So thank you, and have a good month.
Thank you. County Board Member Costa.
Thank you. I just want to respond to County Board Member Logan's comments regarding the 708 Mental Health Board. And I do want to invite our county board members to attend the meeting, as Member Logan has more recently. Because I think his attendance has helped him to rectify and reconcile previous misstatements and falsities that he had made about the 708 board and our spending of $600,000 on administration staff, which hasn't in fact occurred ever. The county board, the 708 board borrowed $40,000 from the county board in its initial inception. We've spent less than 60% of that. Currently, and so that's just about $23,000 versus the $600,000 that he had mentioned months ago. And so, there is a lot of work that goes into the establishment of a brand new board. The 708 Mental Health Board has just is working towards finishing a needs assessment that is being done by the Will Grundy Medical Center and their Equity Institute. We are going to get the final results of that next month, which is going to, advise and direct us on how we actually implement funding, which we have not yet dispersed. President Katrina Jones of the 708 Mental Health Board did make a statement that she was receiving almost harassing messages from county board members on which proposals and which service vendors should be getting dollars from the 708 Mental Health Board. She has respectfully asked that that stops because the applications for grants is not yet open. And when it is, there will be public notice about how that actually happens. The comments made by President Jones did not have anything to do about the selection of an executive director. In fact, that recruitment is going to be taking place here soon so that we can get the staffing necessary to do our work. Thank you.
Thank you. County Board Member Berkowitz.
Thank you, Madam Executive. My comments, I'm bringing forward some requests and feedback from residents regarding the 708 Mental Health Board. There is a only one sitting county board member on that board. However, I thought there should have been two, one from each caucus. But there is one sitting board member on that board. When you go into the Will County board page, those meetings are not in our, they're not in the list of meetings for county board members. So if you go on your page, you've got the meetings listed. However, you just have minutes. And would you please provide to the county board how people can obtain a recording of these minutes? How would they obtain a recording of the meeting?
Yeah, they're not in a facility like this. So, and again, boards can operate differently. And it's not going to be on the Will County board because it's not a Will County board right now. And two, websites are only required if you have full-time staff, and they do not have a full-time staff. So we, as the county board, under the boards and commission, if you Google Will County Board, it will come up to the website that it's on, and where they have the minutes and the agendas listed only. And yeah, so, and they
Right.
do not,
And
they do
so-
not record their meetings.
So do you use Zoom? Are there any?
They do not, they did not.
So everyone is present. They never use Zoom
They
or
do-
WebEx,
no.
nothing like that.
They've not done that
So
yet.
everybody is in the room. Okay. Is there a reason why we wouldn't, for transparency, record that meeting?
I'm going to recommend you go to the Will County Mental Health Board community meeting and ask those questions to them.
So we can request that committee.
Yeah, you could request it. They don't have to listen to you, but yes, you can request it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I would go to the meeting and make that request.
And I just would, I think the board, it would be appropriate for the board to receive a financial report on that board. How we hear that there's a lot of money being spent towards future administrative uses, personnel. I think we should get a report on that at finance, a monthly report. We started with $10 million plus the money they borrowed from the county. But the question is how many millions of dollars from that $10 million at the end of the day is actually going to support mental health services? And and at our monthly finance committee, that should be a monthly report that we can review. Thank you.
So I'm going to respond a little bit to that. The loan I think is completely given back now. And the county board, and again, this is state statute. The county board does not have any oversight of the mental health board outside of when we vote on the levy. So, I mean, again, I'm going to recommend that you go to the meetings and get the information, and you can make your request. You can make that request to do that. There's no harm in that. But again, just so people are aware, it's even different than the Will County Health Board, how the state statute is set up with the mental health board. Any other county board member comments before I move on to leadership? All right. Remember who starts off. County board member Ballard, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I got something to say.
All right.
I went to the June 19th event for the Greater Chicago Chamber of Commerce, and I was given an award for Champion for Freedom. And the way they introduced me was kind of made me nervous, because the MC said that he's introducing Steve Ballard, the most racist guy in Will County. That's how I was introduced. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen next, right? And then they went on to say all the stuff that I did to help them. And when they got done, the guy says, you know, they're saying it's not how you say things or what you say, it's what you do. Your actions count. And so everyone gave me a good applause, and I walked off. But it was like, just think of that. You walk in a room and, you know, they kind of like label you as a bad person, you know, and it was a very interesting thing. It was like, oh my God, what am I going to say now, right? But anyway, I I didn't bring up to have that as a proclamation because I was a little under the weather for that week that we were doing all this stuff. Hopefully I'm fixed, but don't know. But otherwise we would have did do Juneteenth, you know, because I put it up last year. And to me, that was important. And then to go on to the next thing, 143rd Street, a lot of people are getting offered money for their properties, and there's a lawsuit going. And I know the county thinks that they're going to win, and our lawyers say we're going to win. You know, so it's, you know, it's like, okay, well, who's going to win? The judge is going to decide. But I don't understand why we allow these people to get, because they're calling me up at my township, and they're all nervous that they have to sell their property and they don't want to sell their property. And what happens if they sell their property and then the county loses and everything doesn't happen what they think? And so, well, you lose your property. You know, they're not going to get it back if they buy it from you. So, you know, to me, it's like, why, you know, I know you vetoed a resolution, and I know the board voted one way or the other. It don't matter. But just as a human level, if there's a lawsuit going and we don't know what the determination is from a judge, so why would the county want to take people's property without knowing how the judge is going to decide? Because, like I said, we think we're going to win. The county thinks they're going to win. But who is really going to win? We don't know until the judge makes a decision. So, you know, to hold off for 4 or 5 months until this thing is solved, because we're going on our 3rd or 4th judge now. Nobody wants to take the case. And I don't know why that is, but whatever. But, you know, I would just like it that we could stop looking to buy people's property when there's not an answer as to the decision of a judge. And then the last thing I got is the flag, because that was all over the place. I'm the township supervisor, and I felt that our nation is in trouble, dire trouble. And so I asked my board individually, because I ain't breaking the Open Meetings Act, and everybody agreed with me. And so I put the flag upside down for a day. And that was just to say, we are in trouble and we need to talk about this. And, you know, people were on one side were screaming, you can't do it. The other side, they're screaming, oh, thank God you did it. There's no right answer whether it was good or bad, but I believe, and my board believes, that it needed to do that. Because if you go to this, you don't think we're in dire needs. What happens when you go to the store and you spend $100 on something you used to spend $50 on? You know, or when you go to the gas station and the gas costs how much money? Then now the petrodollar is no longer a petrodollar. It's gone. So the United States currency is failing. And we got 2 wars going on. And I can go down a list over and over and over again. And that's why we are in dire stress for me. That's why I turned it upside down, and I would do it again. It's just very frustrating that this is going on in our country, because it doesn't matter about political party. Everybody's suffering the same damn way. Everybody. Sorry for saying the damn word. But we shouldn't be looking at this and saying, oh, the flag. What about the country? What about your life? What about your children? What about what's happening to every single person here? And if anyone can come and tell me why you don't think we're in dire stress, please come and tell me after the meeting. I'll listen. But we are. With that, God bless everybody, and God bless the United States of America.
Leader Trenier.
Good afternoon. I want to thank the Will County Pride Organization, the Naperville Pride Organization, and the Joliet Pride Organization for coming out for today's Pride Proclamation. I think it was awesome that we accomplished this today. As to the comments and queries and speculations about the Mental Health Board, They are no different than any other board that county has representation on. I've never seen curiosity about the health board. I've never seen anybody question minutes about the Heritage Corridor Board. I assume it's the money that has people so interested, and rather than standing or sitting here on the board and saying things that aren't true, it might behoove each and every individual that has a concern to find that website, which is on the county executive's website under boards and commissions, and read the minutes and read the agendas rather than making claims here on the board floor. I know in my community, they've been very concerned about the new tax line item for the mental health board. And I actually was invited to speak at the Rotary Club to explain to them how that tax line item came about, that it was the voters. And I gave them actual numbers from the coroner's report, which is part of what motivated the county board to put that even on a referendum for the voters to vote on. And I explained to them the process as it has come to fruition so far. We still have a long way to go, and I really want to thank our fellow board member, Elna Lynn Costa, for serving on that board. It is more of her personal time without compensation, and it is very much appreciated. As to why I think my fellow board member felt that our country was in distress, I'm a little concerned because it just happened on the day that a former president was convicted of 34 felony counts by a jury of his peers. That is our American way. When we're following our Constitution and our jurisprudence and all of the rules that are set out, and you just don't like the outcome, that doesn't mean that our country is in dire straits in any way, shape, or form. Had the Russians come over and attacked us, I could understand the flag being upside down. But that, in fact, is not what happened on that date. And if, in fact, the reason for flying the flag upside down was all of the reasons that Mr. Balich gave, then it should still be upside down because our economy still isn't really all that much different than it was a couple of weeks ago. Things are the way they are because of a lot of different reasons that I'm not going to go into today. I do want to encourage everybody to watch the public television video about the Arsenal property. It was a fantastic video. Our county treasurer was even in the video. If you are not a PBS watcher or subscriber, I urge you to consider that. They talked about the Arsenal property and its history. They highlighted Medewin, the intermodals. It was just an absolutely fabulous portrayal of Will County, including the RNG plant. So it was really, really good. I want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July holiday. It's just a few days away. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair Gala.
Thank you. I would also like to respond to the conversation being had about the flag. When somebody decides to do something about the flag, the nice thing is we live in America and people can make those choices. Just as several years ago, when there was certain groups going around the country and burning the flag and stomping the flag, and certain board members that are sitting in this room today, when we did the Pledge of Allegiance and somebody had said, please join me in standing, say the Pledge of Allegiance, certain board members said, they don't have to stand if they don't want to. So this flip-flopping is really kind of like crazy. I believe that we're lucky to be an American. We can make comments like that if we choose, but you also have to be respectful that the other person might have a different position on that particular issue. So we can all throw stones all we like about those type of things, but remember, we can always toss stones back and forth. So I think you guys should really respect each other's right as an American to be able to do and say what you want to do and say. So that is something, and I believe stomping on the flag is probably something that is illegal as well. I want to thank our members today for our first time proclamations that we had for both Father's Day and D-Day. D-Day especially since it's the 80th anniversary. So significant. So many lives were lost that day. And it was great to have the veterans come up and stand before us today and remind us of why we can do the things we do here in America and why it's so important to protect the rights that we have. I want to thank everyone for the work that they've done on their boards. I know it takes a lot of time out of your life, but that's what you signed up for when you ran. I will address the veto situation in that the county board voted 12-6 to support the hiring of a consultant for the landfill committee. That is the board's duty to do what they think is necessary to do the work of the county. We need to have a consultant so that we can make the right choices in moving forward with everything related to the landfill, not just the expansion, but we need to have that. And it's unfortunate the county executive has not once or twice or 3 times or 4 times. I've lost track actually how many times that the county executive has vetoed some action of the county board. So that's an unfortunate situation, but that seems to be the style that's happening here. I don't like it, I'm vetoing it. So anyway, in addition to that, I would like to then remind everybody to have a safe 4th of July. Micah, thank you for those information that you gave. I think that's something that people don't hear often, so it's good to hear that. And have a happy, safe 4th. Thank you.
All right. I know we do. I'm debating here. We do need to go, whether or not I'm going to. No, I do know we need an executive session, but I'm thinking about, again, since, you know, when your name gets used in debate, and I am very happy, Chair Ogala, that you mentioned the all day long flip-flopping, because that is very accurate. You know, there's a saying, yeah. I get to speak. Yeah. I run the meeting. So, hey, Chair Ogala, you know what? I know you think this is your world all the time. And I am just addressing something, I'm acknowledging what you said. Oh my gosh. All right. Can I get a motion to go on executive session? Motion by, yeah, I am not going to have this place in electioneering though. I'm telling you right now. Motion to go into executive session by Madam Mueller. Is there a second? Second by Dave Stott. Madam, oh, we're going into executive session, discuss pending or probable litigation.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlottman. Van Dyne. Pretzel. Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Winfrey. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Ogala. 20.
We're back in open session. Chair Ogala.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the recommendation from our state's attorney.
Motion by Ogala, seconded by Mitchell. Any discussion? All in, previous roll call? Previous roll call by Freeman, seconded by Berkowitz. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are closing out. Just a quick statement, just for the record, because it was asked, I can speak at meetings. I chose to stop. So with that, I need a motion to recess to Thursday, July 18th at 2024. Motion by Pretzel, seconded by Mitchell. All in favor? Any opposed? We are recessed.
Oh, God.